Hey everybody, this is Fully Off, and today I'm going to show you how to build the observer block version of the fully automatic Villager Micro carrot and potato farm. So if you just want to jump straight in and build this thing, I'll put a link in the description below that'll take you straight to the main tutorial. But if you want to see how it works, stick around and I'll show you. Now this uses the same Minecraft mechanic as the other potato and carrot farms in that those two farmland blocks there have to be at a light level of 7 or below, which forces the crop to pop out when the farm block receives an update. And because we've got two blocks side by side, they update each other, which is brilliant. Now there are three circuits on this thing. There's the main on-off switch. So if I flick the farm off, both of the lights come on and that guy stops farming. Because the light level on those blocks now is above is 8 or above, it's probably 13 or 14 in there now, those crops won't automatically pop out. Now it only turns off if that farmer's inventory is full. If you've put a brand new farmer in there and only given him a stack of carrots or a stack of potatoes, he'll continue to farm until his inventory is full up. The second circuit, if we whiz round the back, have a look at this redstone. It's tiny. There's nothing to it. So the second circuit detects whether or not there is bone meal in the dispensers. So you put your bone meal in there. It flows via a chain of hoppers down into these two dispensers here. And as soon as the dispensers are empty, let's get rid of that and let's empty this bone meal. As soon as the dispenser is empty, it unpowers that comparator, or the comparator can't pull a signal out of the dispenser anymore, which powers that torch, which powers that repeater. Let's turn the farm on so you can see. Farm's on. Powers the repeater, which powers that redstone redstone lamp there. So if you come around the front, you can see which dispenser has got no bone meal in it. So at this particular stage, the left-hand side the left-hand side dispenser's got no bone meal in it because the left-hand torch is on. If we fill that back up again now, the lights go out. Now, after a couple of seconds with the lights out, the farm blocks receive a random tick update and the crops will pop out and the villager will start farming again. This could take a couple of seconds like it did there, but it could take up to 30 seconds for Minecraft to send the blocks a random tick update. But it will happen, and eventually, after the cooldown period, I think the farmers have got a period of about between 10 and 30 seconds where they'll just stand there not recognising that there's farmland there to be farmed. But as soon as they recognise, they'll crack on and they'll start farming again. And now the last circuit tells you whether or not the chest is full. So if we can get down under here, it's really compact, so it's very difficult to show you. But that comparator there pulls a signal from that hopper there. When the chest is full at the front, the hopper starts to back up. And when there is, I don't know, 40 items in there or so, this comparator pulls off a signal strength of 2, which is long enough to unpower that torch, which powers that torch, which unpowers that torch, which powers that torch, which turns on this redstone line, which powers both of these repeaters, which in turn powers both of the redstone lamps at the front. So I can simulate that just by popping out that torch there. What that does now is the chest is full, so therefore both of these indicator lamps are on at the top. And because the light level on those blocks is above 8, he stops farming, or he stops farming as long as his inventory is full. Okay, so if you come to your farm and you realise that both of those lights are on, you've either got it turned off, so you check your lever, or your chest is full. So let me just whiz back round again and lob a torch back in again. So all you do to clear that is get rid of some of the items out of your chest. Eventually the hopper at the back is going to run down. The lights are going to turn off. The block is going to receive a random tick update like that, and then eventually he'll start planting again. and the system starts working. Now the whole thing works because of the two observer blocks on either side. Observer blocks, as you probably know, detect changes in the state of a block that's against its face. And the block against its face happens to be the block that the crops are growing on. So every time he plants something on that farmland, the observer block detects the change, and it sends a little pulse around the back here to that dispenser. So he plants a crop, the observer detects a change, the dispenser at the back fires some bone meal, which changes the state of the block in the front because it grows a little bit, which the observer block detects. So it sends another signal back round to the dispenser at the back, which fires out some bone meal, which makes the crop grow a little bit more. And this happens until the crop is at full height. And when the crop is fully grown, he'll turn round and he'll plant another crop next to it just here. That causes the block on this side to update because of the light level in there being below 7, which causes that crop to pop out. But it also fires that dispenser, and then the crop grows a little bit, which fires the dispenser, and the crop grows a little bit. And this causes a continual cycle, which is how the farm works. Now, unlike the other farm that was working on a clock that continually clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked, whether or not that farmer was planting or not, this one will only click when there's a crop there to grow. So if for whatever reason the farmer stops farming, or he's in between one side or the other, the clicking stops. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that slows the farm down a little bit, but it's far less annoying. And when I say slows it down, it doesn't slow it down a great deal. This chest was, I AFK'd here overnight. This chest was completely full the following morning. As long as you have bone meal in here, then the farm will work continuously. So I'll put a list of everything you need to build this thing on screen now. So pause the video if you need to, and then we can crack on and start building it. Right, to build this, you're going to need an area that is 6 blocks wide by 6 blocks deep, and you're also going to need to dig down at least 1 block, so bear that in mind when you're finding somewhere to build it. Right, decide where you want to put your chests, and you want to pop out the 2 blocks where your chest is going to go. Now, this is optional. I don't think I put it in the list of ingredients that you needed, but I always like to light up the chest from underneath, so pop out the 2 blocks underneath the chest. You can either put in a couple of blocks of glowstone down there or a couple of torches. And all that does is it highlights your chest, so it's easier to see. If you don't put those lights in, it makes your chest quite dark. So once you've done that, grab yourself a chest and put your chest in there like that. Now whiz round and face the front, grab yourself some stairs, and you need to put in a couple of stair blocks just there. So that just makes it easier for you to see your chest. Now pop out the 2 blocks behind it, grab yourself a hopper. You need to put a hopper facing into the chest there, and then you need to put a hopper facing into that hopper there. Okay, so that hopper faces into that hopper faces into the chest. Now you want to pop out that block, and that block. You need to put a comparator there, which pulls a signal out of that chest. And you need to put 2 pieces of redstone dust there and there. Okay? And then whiz round to the back, pop out that block, and put a redstone torch on that block. So, comparator out of the hopper, 2 bits of dust leading into a block, and a redstone torch off the side of that block. So now you should have something that looks like that. So now we're going to put in some water so we know what we're working around. So grab yourself some solid blocks. I'm using lapis so I know that there's water on the other side of it. You want to come around to the back. You want to knock out that block there. Put a block at the bottom. Then you need to put a block above that redstone torch. One there, and one above that dust. Now you can grab your water, stick your water in there. So now we've got that. Now you want to get yourself back round to the front of the farm, and you need to put 2 blocks of dirt on top of these hoppers. So a block of dirt there and there, and then you need to surround that using solid blocks. So we'll put a block there, block there, block there, and a block just there. Now back round to the front, take out your dispensers. Now these have to be dispensers. If you use droppers, you're going to be wasting your time. It won't work. So you must use dispensers, and you need to put a dispenser there and a dispenser there so they're facing the dirt. Now take out your observer blocks, come round to the side of the farm, put 1 observer block there and 1 observer block just there. Now note that the detection part of it, the smiley face part of it, is facing the dirt, and the redstone part is facing the outside of the farm. If you put it this way round, with the redstone part at the farm and the indicator on the outside of the farm, it's not going to work. So when you're placing it, get to the outside of the farm and pop it down like that. Now grab yourself some solid blocks again. You need to put a solid block on the back face of the observer block where the redstone part is. Do the same on the other side. And then grab some dust and put 3 pieces of dust leading back round into the block that's underneath your dispenser. Do the same on the other side. So now every time that there's a change in state there on that block, that dispenser will fire. And every time there's a change in state of that block, it's going to be picked up by the observer, and that dispenser is going to fire. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now grab your solid blocks again. You need to put a solid block just there next to the bit of lapis. Then take out your comparators, and you need a comparator there and a comparator there. Get your solid blocks again. Put a solid block off the front of the comparators. Now on top of these 2 blocks, you need to put yourself down 2 torches. Then you need some solid blocks above the top of those torches like that. Then you want to come back around the front, and you want to look at those 2 torches, and you need to put a block off the side of them. So you need a block there and you need a block there. Now take out your repeaters, and you need to put 2 repeaters on top of those 2 blocks, 1 there and 1 there. Now take out your solid blocks again. You need to put a solid block on the face of this on the face of this repeater. So you need 1 there and you need 1 there. Then finally grab your redstone lamps, and you need to put 1 lamp there and 1 lamp there. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now we're putting the hoppers in the chest that's going to feed bone meal into the system. So grab yourself your hoppers. Around to the left, you'll need to crouch to do this. So crouch, put a hopper going into the side of that dispenser, a hopper going into that hopper, and then back around the front, and a hopper going into that hopper there. So that hopper changes into that hopper, which changes into that hopper, which goes into your dispenser. And you want to do the same on the other side. Crouch, hopper into the dispenser, hopper into the hopper, hopper into the hopper. Now take out your chests. I'm using trap chests because that way, if I throw something in the chest that I by accident, I can take it out before it starts going through the system. So take out your chests. You want to put a chest above that hopper there, and then you'll need to crouch and put another chest on the side of it just there. And then same on the other side, chest above that hopper, crouch, and a chest next to it. So now your chests fall into the hoppers, which flow into your dispenser. And now you can throw your bone meal in there. So grab yourself a load of bone meal. You're going to need loads of bone meal. And then lob it in your chest. And once it filters down into your dispenser, your light's going to go out. So now you've got that. Now we can finish off the circuit that turns the farm off if the chest at the bottom is full. So get yourself round to this side of the farm. Take out a torch. You need to put a torch just there. If you've used lapis around your water, you need to put a torch on the side of the lapis. Then you need to put a solid block above it, around to here, a solid block there. Put a block on top of that torch. Put a redstone torch on the side of that block, and then put another solid block on top of that redstone torch like that. Now you need to put a block off the side of that torch there. So you need to look at the torch and put a block there. Okay, and then you need to do the same on the other side. Like that. Now you need to put repeaters on those two blocks. So facing the block, well, facing the center of the farm, you need to put a repeater there, leaving it on one tick. And then you need to put a repeater there. Okay, so you've got that. Now grab your solid blocks again. You need to crouch and put a block above that repeater, a block next to it, and then another block above that repeater there. And then finally you need to crouch still and put a block on the back of this repeater. So it's there like that. All right. And then just cover those blocks with redstone dust. So now as soon as the comparator down the bottom, as soon as the chest is full and the hopper backs up, the torch that you put underneath here will turn off, which will turn that torch on, which will turn that torch off, which will turn that torch on, which will power this dust, which will power both of those repeaters, which in turn powers those repeaters, which turns on the redstone lamps at the front. And if you want to test it, just to make sure that you have wired it all correctly, just pop out this torch here. And then all of this should light up and the lamps at the front should light up. So now just go back and put that torch back in again. So now you've got something that looks like that. Now it's time to start making the place look pretty. So grab yourself some solid blocks and get yourself to the front of the farm. You need to come to the left side of the chest, and you need to put 3 solid blocks there, there and there, and do the same on the other side. And then grab yourself some stairs, and you need to put upside down stairs above the chest. Like that, so it's easy for you to access the chest. And then you need to grab some blocks to cover the dispensers at the back. You can use any block you like, as long as it's not glowstone. I'm using grey concrete because it roughly matches the same colour as the dispensers and the hoppers and the observers in there. But if you want that to be a bright colour, you can put yellow in there. You put what you like in there. As I say, as long as it's not illuminated, put what you like in there. Now grab yourself some glass panes. You can use solid glass blocks if you want to. Initially, when I first started designing these farms, I was a little bit concerned that if I use glass panes on these blocks here, some of the crops might land on the solid blocks and then go to waste. But in the absolute hours and hours of testing I've done on these farms, I've never had that happen. So you can use glass blocks if you want, or glass panes. I'm using glass panes. Then grab yourself your solid block again, and you need to put 2 solid blocks above the top like that. Okay, and then you want to completely surround all of that with a frame. So grab your solid blocks again, put solid blocks all the way up the side, all the way up this side. 2 solid blocks in the middle. Then you need to take out your stairs. You need to put down a couple of upside down stairs. One there. Try not to fall down into your farm. And one there. So now you've got that. Now, as you can see through the backs of those hoppers there. So all you need to do then is go around the back and just surround the hoppers with solid blocks. And then do the same on the other side. And that way now you can't see through the the hoppers. Now finally, just to put the on-off switch on, you need to pick one of those two blocks at the top there. It doesn't matter which one. We'll choose that one. You need to put a lever there and then whiz over the top and put 2 pieces of redstone dust on top of the lamps. So now when you flick the lever, the lights go on. Flick the lever, lights go off. Oops. Now it's time to get the farmer into the farm. So get yourself a farmer. It doesn't have to be a farmer. It can be any brown coat villager, but it does need to be a brown coat. And you need to get him over to the farm and somehow get him into there. Now I'm going to try something now that normally I'll just go inside and spawn a farmer in there. But I'm going to try something using the mechanic that farmers detect furrowed land, ploughed land within a 15 by 15, no, it's not 15, it's 32, isn't it? A 32 by 32 by 3 radius of where they're standing. So if I summon a farmer here, like that, and I throw him some potatoes that he's picked up, if I put a set of stairs there, knock that out and turn that into furrowed land, ploughed land, hopefully you'll see it and go in and start planting. And if you don't, we'll push you in anyway. Go on, get in there. Well, he may have gone in on his own. I've got no idea, but it was easy enough to push him in. And then just put the glass back. Now he should start within 20 or 30 seconds. He'll start planting. But because his inventory is completely full, because his inventory is empty at the moment, most of the potatoes or carrots that he farms initially, he's going to keep in his inventory. So it's very unlikely you'll get anything in the chest for about 15 minutes. I mean, you can start this farm up with 1 potato or 1 carrot. If I'd have given him 1 carrot or 1 potato, he would have started farming. So the more you throw him, the quicker it's going to be that you'll start getting crops in your chests. But as long as you've got bone meal in your farm now, he'll continue to plant. Now there are a couple of things you need to know about these farms and the way farmers work. In Minecraft, farmers will plough land or will farm land if they're inside the radius of a village, and the radius of a village is usually 32 blocks from the centre of the village. If you've got a really massive village, this is going to be more, but as a general rule of thumb, it's 32 blocks. So don't build this farm unless you are within the radius of a village, i.e. 32 blocks away from some valid doors, or you're outside 64 blocks away from a valid village. Because if they're in the twilight zone between the outside of a village and 32 blocks away from the outside of the village, i.e. 64 blocks away from a village, they're going to run around trying to pathfind back to the village. Okay, now that sounds complicated, and it's probably a lot more complicated than I made it sound. But the top and bottom of it is either build this farm within the radius of a village or build this farm miles away from a village. Because if you build it, close enough for that farmer to detect that there's a village close by, he's not going to do any work. He's going to run about trying to pathfind back to the village. And also, and I built a platform over the top to make sure this is dark. It's imperative that those 2 blocks there are at a light level of 7 or below, because if it's not, the farm isn't going to work. So either build this underground or build a platform over the top of it, or build it inside a building. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, everybody. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Frilly off, and I'm out of here.